Hi guys, a very good evening to one and all. I hope you all are doing fine. Let's wait for another couple of minutes. You guys can go on, drop some hi, hello in the chat. You can network in the chat, and by the time, let's wait for others to join. Also, this is absolutely for free. It's a YouTube live, so everyone's open to join. You can, ping your friends to join up, and yeah, a lot of tech excitement coming up. Also, can someone drop thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me, if I'm loud and clear? All right, perfect. Okay, so once again, let me tell that this is absolutely free to join, open for all. Um, you guys need not have any RSVP or something like that to join. So, yep, let me push for one final time. We've got 14 people live. Um, let's go, guys. Come on, let's start off in a few minutes. Meanwhile, let me interact with a few people in the chat. I can see just draw it here. Sam this side. Hi, Sam. Network in the chat, guys. Say hi to each other. You can say hi to me. We'll start off in hardly a couple of minutes. Okay. Shashank says hi. Who else? So I'll just put it on the banner. Uh, ask your friends to join. It's open for all. No RSVP required. And we'll be starting just in a minute. We're already, it's 9:07. So let's start at 9:10. I was speaking all the time while on mute. Thank you so much for pointing it out in the chat. So, am I audible now? Anyone who can give me a thumbs up or something? Mike, please. Someone testing 1 2 3. Yeah, perfect. All right, so let me start over again. Of course, I don't have a script to start off again, but yeah, let's go. So I welcome you all again to Kaggle Community Olympiad 2025, where this year's Community Olympiad was supposed to happen mid of the year, and of course it got postponed due to a lot of things. And here we are, sitting in November, inaugurating Kaggle Community Olympiad. I welcome all of you. Really, thank you so much for taking out time at 9 in the night over a weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, I'd like to say, please push this, share across your circle, ask your friends to join. It's open for all, no RSVP required. So yeah, let's go ahead. So today is all about how to make a Kaggle competition submission, and uh, how can we, what do we say, how it is different from all the other hackathons online, and how come you can, what do we say, be better at your submission and make it to the top. So we'll discuss all of that over here. So this whole live and this video is kind of a tutorial, a walkthrough to go through all the steps and try to make a submission, and see how we can make it to the top on the leaderboard, share some tips and tricks, or maybe share experiences, uh, mostly to learn about Kaggle and Kaggle competitions. So for people who are asking, the Kaggle link in the description, I'll put it just when we start. So first, before we start, how many of you have seen me speaking before? The usual question which I ask, or how many of you know me? You can just drop a hi in the chat or maybe something. Uh, so, by the way, my name is Moin. I'm an SD3 and community leader at TensorFlow user groups and Flutterflow user groups. I've been doing a lot of AI and a lot of tech stuffs in the past 5 years, I think so. Yeah, but I'm not quite that old. So, this is who I am. If you want to connect with me, I'll try to drop my link in the chat, uh, maybe at the last. So, without further ado, let's get started. And first of all, guys, before we start, I have a few questions for you. One, is this the first time you guys are listening to the word Kaggle Community Olympiad? So, is this the first time, or have you made something on Kaggle before earlier? Are you familiar with Kaggle competitions, or is this the first time where you are coming to know that yeah, this Kaggle also has competitions? Karke. So you can put your what do we say, uh, thoughts in the chat. Feel free to chat. No worries. Let me be the torchbearer. Let me just say that. Yep, I know about Kaggle and Kaggle competitions. All right. So if you guys know about Kaggle and Kaggle competitions, you can drop the same in the chat. All right, perfect. So Shafi says, I won Kaggle hackathon organized by Google. Oh my god, that's really, really great. So good, good to hear that. And let's see if you will be able to make the cut this time in this competition. I'm really excited to share this across with you. And another question, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much is your ML understanding? Like, of course, on Kaggle, we do a lot of machine learning stuff, not just machine learning, a lot of AI stuff. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, because our Olympiad is focused on ML, so how much would you rate yourself? I can give myself a hard 7, because, of course, there is a lot of scope to learn still while technology is always evolving. 7 or 8. But let's see what people give themselves in the chat. Okay, Shafi says 9. Great. Anyone else? Sayan says, this is my first time. I don't know about Kaggle competition. All right, great. Then you're going to learn about that in this video. Okay, a few chats as well. All right, fine. So it's totally fine if you don't have any ML understanding, but of course, I hope everybody who's a tech geek knows at least basic programming. So it would be not so tough, especially with the AI tools today, to participate and make a cut in the competition. So before this, ever did you hear about something called as a Kaggle Community Olympiad? Of course, I know um, it is the first time you guys are hearing this. Earlier, this was called as ML Olympiad, and this time we are presenting the same ML Olympiad with the name Kaggle Community Olympiad because it's a lot more, Kaggle focused. So, yep, you guys are pretty much like this, waiting for me to talk about the competition, show some code, see how it happens. So, without wasting a lot of time, let me just put a few points. Okay, let me also set the layout so that you guys would be able to see. Perfect, this layout is fine. If it's fine, you guys can give me a thumbs up. If you can see the screen, hear me loud and clear, you guys can give me a thumbs up. Okay, so let me tell you a bit about Kaggle Community Olympiad. So basically, there's a global competition. Anyone from around the globe can participate because, of course, it's online, and it is a Kaggle style competition where you can do everything in Kaggle itself. Make your model, write your code, and probably make a submission. So everything happens inside Kaggle itself. So it's a global initiative where anyone can enter the competition and participate. So this is mainly made so that people can learn. There is always a low barrier, there is no high barrier like you have to make some really cool stuff, really complex stuff. It's always set on a mid or uh, low level where beginners, everyone can participate and can get some really good learning out of it. It is, what I can say in 2 points is, uh, really good for learning for beginners and really fun for pros. If you are a pro or maybe a really good person in machine learning, this is going to be real fun for you guys because this is like that one competition where you push the model to its limits and get the best score. So it's really fun for it's really fun for all the people who already are knowledgeable in machine learning, and of course it'll be a really good experience to learn for beginners. And it uses pretty much what do we call simple data sets. It's not like a very big complex data set where you have to do a lot of stuff. So it is more learning focused through a competition. So that is what Kaggle Community Olympiad is, and this happens every year. And on this video itself, let me promise, there is going to be a Kaggle Community Olympiad next year as well. I'm definitely gonna organize it and, of course, host it. I'll try to host it in a in collaboration with a lot of student communities, um, uh, and other communities as well. But yeah, that's for the next year. Of course, I'll try to plan it up something around June or something. So for now, let's talk about this year's competition. So today, what are we going to do? First, let's see how Kaggle competitions work, learn how to participate, learn how we can crack this particular problem which I'm hosting. And then we'll do a bit of ML, which will be our end-to-end tutorial, and make a submission to Kaggle Community Olympiad 2025. So this is what we are going to do today. And let's jump on and see how we can do this. So let me quickly get to Kaggle. By the way, meanwhile, while I shift to Kaggle, I'd like to tell you guys again, please, please, please share this across. Let people know we have a really low viewer count. Let's push that up. Okay. All right. So another thumbs up if you can see the screen, please. I think not yet. Now you'll be able to see. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see the Kaggle competition? Yes, perfect. So this is overall what do we call the overview of the competition. This is how it looks like the moment you go to it, and I'll paste the link in the chat so that you guys can go and check it out. So here's the link, I've put it out in the chat. and I'll try to put it in the description as well. I'll pin this. You would be able to see it somewhere across, and I'll also try to put it in the description as well later. So this is the link to competition. You can simply go, and for me it's showing something called as submit prediction, but for you it will show something like what do we say, join competition. So you can just click on join competition and you can enter the competition officially, but this won't count as your participation. Why? I'll tell you that. First, let's have a look. So here the problem is about predicting stress from a conversation text. So basically you'll be having a text. From that you have to predict the stress level of what do we say, the person who's making that conversation. It's a plain, what do we say, a very plain ML approach. You need not put some high stakes on that. You need not over engineer it. It's a pretty straightforward approach where uh, we'll be just doing categorization, classification, and all. So you can build a really strong expertise in that, understand how human centric AI works, and if you are really good and knowledgeable at ML, you can show off your skills. You can literally go over engineer this and maybe get the best score. So the goal is to classify a piece of human conversation which is in text into its corresponding stress related emotional category. So there's a general classification type of problem where we'll just go ahead and what do we say, classify something. So you can head over to Kaggle and you can simply make an account if you don't have one. It's a really good place to learn as well. You get courses and all, of course with certifications. On Kaggle itself, absolutely for free, you can get these courses and just get it done just like Udemy. So about now, let's come to the deadline. It started 4 days ago. Of course, I started this Tuesday or something, and the deadline is far a month. So it ends on December 28th, and the winner would be announced right before New Year. So of course, it'll be a really really great time. If you are going to win this competition, you're going to have two things to be cheerful about: one, your New Year, and then uh, the competition win. So it's, what do we say, a really long period for a very simple problem. So you can take your time, improvise as much as you can, and make your final submission with the best score. So there's a bit about the competition. Let's discuss a bit more, see the data, and see exactly what we are trying to do. While, let me switch back to the presentation, we'll try to discuss a bit more about what we'll actually try to do. So for now, I think you guys have clicked on something called as join the competition, but this is not your participation, like I told. Guys, just a small check in between. Loud, am I loud and clear? The screen clear? Anyone can just put a thumbs up or a smiley or something. All right, let me move on. So for now, we have joined the competition. You might have clicked that join competition button and joined it, but this itself won't count as a participation. For getting yourself called as a participant, you need to make a submission. So this is the rule, that joining a competition does not come under participation. A submission comes under participation. So you have to build something and then make a submission so that you'll be called as a participant. Yeah, or else you'll be called as just an entrant. So it'll you know uh, be really really, what do we say, uh, weird, because you'll be just hitting on join competition and then you'll just be seeing that you've not participated in this yet. So it is like that. So participation actually means making a submission. So let's go ahead, let's try to build something. We'll try to build a model and try to make a submission. So let me just go back to Kaggle. I'll stop sharing this and I'll start sharing back my Kaggle screen. Yep. So you'll be able to see Kaggle now. As you can see here on the overview as well. Okay, let me just show you. Here you can see something called as 26 entrants, 3 participants, and 7 submissions. So 3 people actually have made a submission. That is why they are called as 3 participants. 26 people have just clicked join competition, so they're just an entrant. They've not made a submission yet. And of course, here we have individual teams, but still you can team up. You can join as a team, and the maximum count of people per team is 3 people. So first, let's go ahead and see the rules, see what exactly the competition is about, do a bit of analysis, and uh, try to understand what is the main uh, goal of this. So here we go, the rules. Official competition rules, these are just the general rules that Kaggle sets. And apart from that, first is no monetary prizes, but let's see if we can give out a swag. It's a secret for people who are just watching this. And yep, uh, let's keep it a secret. But of course people are going to watch this on YouTube, but still I'm not promising anything. So yep, uh, along with that we'll have a special mention on our projects page, and of course you will be having an opportunity to present the solution or the idea, pitch about it in TensorFlow user group Hyderabad's community meetups. So it's a really you know uh, good thing that we are promoting ideas and you know making space for talent to come up. So we thought, instead of giving out any monetary stuff, let's plan it this way, that we give people opportunity to learn more, grow more, and maybe team up with us. So it's going to help you a lot maybe in the coming future. And definitely swag to swag hai. And coming forward, um team limits, maximum size is 3. Team mergers are not allowed. Say, let's say you've already made a team and you want to merge with some other team. That is not allowed. You can join as a team size of 3, and you can make maximum of 20 submissions per day. I'll tell you what the submission is. So let's say I've made a ML model, but it didn't work well. I want to submit it. I want to save my progress so that my, what do we say, uh, score comes up on the leaderboard, but later I want to make it better. So I can make a lot of submissions. I can make multiple submissions as well. Per day, I can make 20 submissions. No worries. That is like, you can go all beast mode, make your model better and better and better, and do multiple submissions as well. So that, once you're fine with your model, okay, this is the best score I can get, and then finally make a final submission and see where do you stand on the leaderboard. So the leaderboard is always changing. Not only you, other participants as well will be making their model better. So of course, that's why it's called as a competition. So you can go ahead, make multiple submissions, and just get it better. And any use of out wait a minute, what is this? uh, Participating in competition in the Kaggle forums, where what is this, sorry, participating in the competition Kaggle forums, non-commercial academic research and education. Any use outside these allowed purposes may result in disqualification, data security. So these all are the general terms and condition type of rules that Kaggle sets. Please give it a read. I won't be able to explain each and every of this, but give it a general glance. It just says that if you are using external data, it should be of some reasonable standards. It should not just be random chat GPT or AI generated. It should have what do we say, some validity. And also, if you are using something which is licensed, it should be mentioned, or that license should be used, or if it is open source, it's probably fine. So those are the general licensing rules. You can go ahead and give it a glance. Coming to eligibility, no entry bar, anyone can participate. Absolutely no entry bar. You're a student, go give it a shot. If you're a professional, you're an AI expert, go give it a shot, no worries. And the main checklist and obligations to participate would be: first, try to complete your model, try to deliver a complete training plus inference code for submission. Make a model, use that model on some test data, out of sample data, which is already provided, and that would be your, what do we say, first thing that you can submit. Apart from that, you can have, what do we say, better documentation, like you can write markdown in your cells, and you know put some beautiful comments, proper methodology, architecture, EDA, pre-processing. All of these things can be put. So these are the obligations which are expected from you, that you'll definitely do an EDA before putting your model to use, or maybe put some details. Simple comments at least would work, but a bland code which, what do we say, just simply works, might not make the cut. It will definitely be submitted, it will show up on leaderboard, but might not make you fall in the top 3 or 5 or wherever it is. So, and other are the general foundational rules. The main rules are this for you to understand: that team limit is maximum of 3, merges are not allowed, number of submissions is 20 per day. Tomorrow you can make more 20, no worries, and I'm definitely sure nobody will make more than 20 every day. But it is just for you to simply sit, take your time, take a shot at the problem in a very flexible way. And yep, if you are using some license stuff, use it with all the due diligence, or whatever stuff given, credits given to it. So, yep. Apart from the rules, there is a leaderboard where you can go check yourself. For now, the three participants which are participating from this, the first guy has some score of 1. Basically, there's F1 score. So in F1, 1 means the best. It's like 100%. So you can just multiply it with 100 or something. And this guy has something 0.69, 0.7. So you can go ahead, make a better model. Plus, if a lot of people in the top 3 or top 5 have the accuracy score of 1, Kaggle will automatically select the best notebook and put them on the leaderboard. Apart from that, so basically Kaggle is doing all of this thing, the marking, the everything. There is no human involvement in this, so you can trust the resource, you can trust the valuation metrics of Kaggle, where it automatically puts you on the leaderboard. Apart from that, still we will filter the best notebooks out of the top 10, and uh, probably try to filter them based on how well they've written the code. I'll try to give all of these pro tips at the end of the video. So yep. And now coming to the metric, what metric is being used? The metric which is being used to evaluate this competition is F1 micro, F1 beta micro actually. So F1 is the general metric which is used for classification problems. It has got a very good reputation as well. But from that specifically, we've used F1 beta micro, so that this particular competition is evaluated well. So we'll go back and have a look at the data and see if we can submit something. So let's have a look at the data. Yep. So data contains a train CSV and a test CSV. There's like the general, very what do we say, general machine learning problem where you have a train CSV and a test CSV. And can somebody tell why these things are used? Train and test different data sets. Anyone from the chat can say. You guys can chat GPT it as well. Okay, no answers yet. All right, let me go on. So you have the general data, train CSV, on which you can train your model, and test CSV happens to be a out of sample data, basically the data set on which you're supposed to make a submission. You're supposed to test your model on top of it and submit it. So the data set looks something like this, where train CSV, we have something called as a original text, which is the text on which you'll make the prediction that in which category it falls. And there is original text and clean text. Let's say in the original text there is some what do we say, uh, U, UTF-8 symbols, or maybe some things that will not consider it as a string. It will be clean, and simply if it is clean, it will be set to is modified as true. So all of this data set is already, ready for you. You need not what do we say, filter and what do we say, clean it again. I'm telling about the original text, but the data set of course needs to be cleaned. You need to do your data pre-processing definitely. As you can see, there are something around 6435 null values in this NaN value. So of course you have to do the basic data science stuff that everybody does before going ahead and putting it to the training. So the columns original text and clean text are what we discussed now, and is modified true means the clean text is a modified one, and it will be different from the original text. And num sentence is another column where it clearly shows how many sentences are there in this text. So it might be a conversation, it might be a comment from the Instagram, it can be anything. So num sentence basically says how many number of sentences in this text. And category is the, what do we say, label which we are trying to predict. Here as you can see, there is a category assigned, which basically is an emotion based on the text which is given. So here there is a text: I was happy when my son got 90% marks in the examination, something like that. And the category pointed to this is affection. So just like that, there are a lot of categories in which there is, what do we say, uh, there is joy, there is sadness, there is nature, etc. There are a lot of categories. So this is what you'll be predicting. So you'll be just taking the text from the test CSV and predicting the category. So let's have a look at test CSV as well. Test CSV has just the text. So you'll simply be making another column beside it and putting your predictions over there. So this is by far, from a high level, um, this is how the data looks like. And if we go here and check, there is a detailed, what do we say, description of what the data set is, how you can use it, and how you can make a submission as well. So it also says that make sure you have a sample submission CSV that contains only two columns as output. One would be the ID, one would be the category. So this basically in your uh, test CSV would be your input, and your submission output file should only have the predicted values. That's it, nothing else. So there are all the details given over here in a very nice format. I personally looked into these and wrote these details. So there are, uh, most of the things are covered in this. You can go ahead, read this, you can read dataset description and all, uh, if you are missing out on this video. And also before making a submission, do give it a read. So that's about it. And I would like to cite a few uh, what do we say, things. I think I've already mentioned that. No. Okay, so I'd like to cite two data sets that are very, very, what do we say, famous. One is called as HappyDB, and one is called as ISEAR. So these data sets are basically the emotion data sets on top of which this particular data set for this competition was built. Apart from that, there is something called as Google Emotion Index. So Google Emotion Data, sorry, not index, Google Emotion Data. So that is also a very famous dataset. On top of these three, the current dataset which you see is built, and I personally am calling it Emotion 150K because there are more than 150,000 rows, more than 150,000 rows, and which means more than 150,000 unique texts or comments or human texts or whatever it is. So basically 150 unique inputs, uh, on which you can train a really, really good model and go for your predictions. So yeah, let's go back to the presentation before we go ahead and make a few predictions. Let's discuss a bit more. Yep. So we were trying to go ahead and make an ML model and make a submission. Before that, ruko zara, sabar karo. Let's analyze the problem statement. We discussed about the dataset. We discussed about the statement. Now let's analyze it a bit. So the problem statement analysis clearly says that we have an input which is text, basically a string. Now based on this, we have to, the output should be, you know the predicted output should be a category, an emotion category, which of course again be string. So there's a typical classification type of problem. Now I'd like to ask you guys who have heard all of this, what would be the x and y in our problem? What would be the x, what would be the y, basically what would be the dependent variable and what would be the independent variable? You can drop it down in the chat while I go ahead. I'll also post a comment in the chat. What would be our x and y in this problem? Yep. So let's go ahead while you guys put stuff in the chat. Yep. As we see, but if you can see, we have more than one class to predict. It's not a general, what do we say, uh, classification problem where it's like we are detecting something is spam or not, something is present or not. It's not binary classification. It's, what do we say, we have to predict multiple classes which are spread over the rows. Meanwhile, Shafi says input is x, which is our text basically, and the emotions is y. So of course we are predicting y equals mx plus c. Of course we are not going to do y equals mx plus c. This is a classification problem. uh, but something that we are predicting is of course y. So we're predicting emotion, so it's going to be our y. Math is all about finding x and machine learning is all about finding y. Whoa, this was good. I'll use it somewhere. Maybe put it on Twitter. So yeah, coming back to our problem, it's more like predicting the right class that falls in the row. So this particular thing over here is called as multi-class prediction. There's not single binary class prediction where we simply say yes or no or spam or not. A lot of you, every beginner, every student, everyone who dips his toes in ML definitely does spam prediction. So there's something different. So this is something like we have to predict different classes over the rows. So that's why it's called as multi-class predictions. So for our data set, this is the best approach we can go for. And as you can see, I've put a simple table over here. If you want, you can take a screenshot or maybe give it a glance. It says that what's the difference between normal classification versus binary, and what is the difference in multi-class classification. So basically in binary, the output is a single possible outcome, which is, like I told earlier, spam or not, falls in this category or not. But here it can be a single prediction itself, but more than two possible outcomes, more than two or three, or multiple possible outcomes. Just like our data set, it can be any emotion out of the given number of emotions which are present in that data set. So this is a general classical case of multi-class classification. Now let's see the workflow in which we approach the problem, and then we'll go ahead to implement it. I'll try to show you end to end what do we say, notebook, and I'll also give you the link to the notebook, so you can uh, put it up on Kaggle and try to run it, or maybe get some reference from it. So let's go ahead and see the generic workflow. So this is the general workflow. Also, this is the workflow everyone chooses while solving a machine learning problem. First, we do a problem analysis, what exactly the problem is. Then we gather some data acumen. Like, this happens on a very general note. We as humans, when we see something, we try to learn. That is even how machines learn. So the moment we see data, we try to understand, okay, this is how it is, this is how it is. We connect some dots. but it is not as appealing as, a proper data analysis graph, or some summary that comes up after the analysis. So what we do is we see the data, we clean it, we properly make sure that no null values are there, no nan values are there, and there is less scope of error in our analysis, because machine learning works on one golden rule, that is garbage in, garbage out. If you train your model with garbage, it is going to give you out a garbage output. If you train it with some really good data, it is going to give you some really good results. So of course, after we write out and analyze the problem and analyze the data, we are going to clean it. After that, we'll do a bit of data analysis, which you call the EDA, exploratory data analysis. All of your nice graphs and all, you put matplotlib to use over there, and that is what you do. Then comes the machine learning part. When once we are done with the data part, um, then we come to machine learning part. So after our data analysis, we'll understand, okay, this is how we need to approach it. So what model would be better, what kind of model should we use for this kind of problem and this kind of data set. Then after selecting a particular model, we train it over training data, and we test it on out of sample data. Out of sample basically means you're testing data or real time data, be it whatever. Then we calculate the metric. We calculate the metric and see how much score did we make. If the metric is really really poor, if this is, evaluation comes up really poor, we again train the model, we again do multiple iterations of training till we get a really good score. So that is how every AI model in the world works. It gets trained on some data, it performs in a way, and then when the metric is good or bad, fine or poor, based on that, it's tuned multiple times till it reaches uh, you know ideal level, or you can say, what do we a cutoff where things could be told as, yeah, this is good or ideal. So that's how it works. Let's try to go to Kaggle and take a much closer look at the data and see how it exactly is. And how about we do a simple EDA as well? Let me just pull up a notebook for you guys, which I've already made. I didn't want to write code and take a lot of your time, because of course uh, it's night and maybe you guys have some plans to binge watch something. So yeah, what are you guys binge watching these days? You can drop it in the chat, give some suggestions. Let's make the chat a bit lively. I'm binge watching uh, this thing. I forgot its name. Let me present Kaggle in between our conversation. Yep. Yeah, I'm binge watching Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. You guys can drop in the chat what you guys are watching these days. So also give me a thumbs up if you can see Kaggle. I'll just try to go to my code and see what I submitted. Edit. Cool. Okay, Sayan says I'm binge watching React tutorials. Ah, great. Brilliant. What a nice thing to binge watch. Somebody might turn up and say, I'm watching system design or DSA tutorials, binge watching it. Cool. So, yeah, uh, here we go. I think the presentation is lagging a bit. Let me turn off my camera so that it reduces the bandwidth. Okay, sorry. I'm sharing the wrong tab. Here we go. I'm sharing the right tab now. It's not the camera. Cool. All right. So the font is fine, guys, or do you want me to reduce or increase the font a bit? Just let me know in the chat. I'm always having uh, eye on the chat, so you can just simply talk or maybe put your comments out. Cool. So here we go, and as soon as you click on join competition or maybe submit a prediction, you'll automatically be taken to a notebook where you'll have a data set ready for you, or else you can click on add input from the right and search for the data set. So it'll be really, really easy. You can just simply search for Kaggle Community Olympiad. Community Olympiad. And you can sort it from here, date. Somehow you will be able to get the data set, but you need not do this as well. Simply, as soon as you click on make submission, I'll show that. Just a minute, let me go to kaggle.com. In this tab itself, I'll go to competitions. This is our competition. The moment I click on submit prediction, notebook, okay, I've already made a submission, so it's, let me try to do it with some other account. Let me open up something else so that it'll be like a fresh submission. Present something else. Yes, present something else. All right, I'm sharing my entire screen. Let's see. Here we go. I'll simply sign in with my Google account. This is my other account, by the way, which is more Flutter community focused. Yeah, a very fresh account. Great. So just search for Kaggle Community Olympiad, or you can follow the link which I gave in the chat. Come on. Yep. So as soon as you click join competition, you'll be prompted to just accept the rules and all. You can just click on I understand, accept. And the moment you click on submit prediction, I think you'll be asked to create a notebook. Yeah, from here. So okay, wait a minute. I think my presentation is not in on the stage. Somehow I noticed it this time. Didn't let you guys laugh on me. Haha. Cool. So yep. So generally logged in into my account, which is a fresh one. So, and I just dropped this link. I'll try to open it in a new tab and I'll show you guys. I've just gone to this competition, and this is where you'll be seeing the join competition button, which I already did. So I cannot, just go back and redo it. So the moment you click on make a submission, you will be asked to upload a file, and right beside that there is something called as notebook. You can click that, and there is a CTA called as create notebook. The moment you click on this, it will make a notebook for you with, what do we say, the input of the data set already attached. So you need not add an input, search for it, or upload it. You need not do anything. You can directly just click on create notebook and do this, and you can name this something like KCO 2025 submission. You can make it, you can name it anything basically, or you can name it what you're trying to do. So this is how it works. The moment you make it, it'll be on your profile. You can go and uh, submit this, or maybe play around with it until you reach your final submission level score. So yep, let's try to have a look at the code. Cool. Let me close off the sidebar so that it'll be much easier for you to see. I'll increase the font a bit. Perfect. So here, as usual, I'm importing the import statements, and I'm importing the dataset. In the import statements, I'm having pandas and numpy because these are the general ones. Numpy for numerical operations, pandas for reading and operating on datasets. Train test split is something that we won't be using much because we already have a train dataset and a test dataset explicitly separated. So we won't be using this much. We have something called as a, what do we say, TFDF vectorizer. Why we'll be using it, I'll tell you as we move forward. And we have logistic regression, F1 score. F1 score is going to be our metric. F1 score micro beta, and we have pipeline and label encoder. So once we go forward, I'll tell you why exactly we used all of these things. So let me quickly run this, and here I'm simply importing the dataset. I'm just doing pd.read csv and import the dataset, which I get it from here. Simply here in the inputs, if you can see, there is a copy button. Don't copy this one. This is the general, what do we say, competition path or something. This is your train csv, this is your test csv. You can copy this one. You can click on copy file path and you can paste it over here and import your dataset, which I'll do it again. Okay, this one's successfully run, and I'll simply copy the train dataset, copied. I'll paste it over here. I'll run the cell. I think it worked. Worked? I think yes. So also guys, one very important thing is you need to have encoding Latin 1 while importing your dataset, because in the original text, like I told, there will definitely be some utf-8 or any other encoded characters, just like at the rate, hashtag, or whatever it is. So definitely you need to put this, or you can use much better ways. You feel free to chat gpt. There's not a competition which has restrictions, so you can feel free to chat gpt it. So here generally we are importing the dataset, and as you can see, we have text, another clean text is modified true or false, and then after num sentence we have our label, which is category. So apart from this, I'm simply doing a simple data cleaning. I'm just dropping unnamed columns. I'm dropping, what do we say, okay, this is to strip any white texts, like if there are any trailing spaces or leading spaces from the string, it will do that. So basically the first 3 to 4 cells are all about you know checking the dataset, cleaning the dataset, making it usable. So as you can see, I'm here checking uh, how many null values do I have. df.isNull.sum gives me how many null values do I have. So uh, it says that in original text there is something around 6364, and similarly we have these many 6000, 6000 plus 6000 plus 6000 plus in each what do we say column. We have these many null values, which means something around 6000 plus null rows, and we have these many non-null what do we say items or rows. So we need to clear all of these. Simply I can use df.dropNA. And here a really important thing to keep in mind is, if there is a null value which is going to be somewhere in between, but the whole row is not null, let's say only one cell or maybe only one value is null, you definitely have to replace that value with something else. So keep all of these things in mind while cleaning the data set. And I've intentionally not kept any such what do we say cells, so that it's easy for beginners, but you need to keep that in mind. Now after dropping all the null values or na values, I'm again checking how many null values are present, and now if you can see, it became 0. So we don't have any null values now. The data set is pretty much nice and easy to use. So on that, now we'll do some eda. Our main point is to predict categories. So we'll see how many categories do we have, and how many number of rows are belonging to that particular category. So I did a simple EDA over here, in which I'm just showing the distribution of categories. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 categories, out of which we have something around 45,000 sadness rows or text, 36,000 of joy, or 34,000 affection. And this pretty much gives us the idea how the dataset is, and how it's going to be training the model. Based on all of this EDA, we'll be able to select the model. Now once we've done the EDA, we'll also try to see how the distribution is. So I'm simply writing a very simple lambda function over here, which uh, shows us what is the distribution of text lengths and average text length by emotion category. So um, as you can see, sadness has the least length of text, length of original text or clean text or whatever it is, and others have different. So all of these things give you some nice EDA, and these things can score you, brownie points in the competition if it is good. While EDA is mostly for you to understand the data set, to make some analysis, get some insights out of it. But doing good EDA also, gives some good, what do we say, impression on your submission, that yep, this guy has uncovered some really good data insights. So apart from the EDA, let's go forward and see how the test data frame also looks like. So there's how our test data set looks like. It's just an ID and a text. And simply when we make the outputs, this text will be changed into uh, what do we say, the prediction, the category basically. So that is what we have to do. So this is pretty much all about the EDA. Let's jump back to the presentation. I just feel like to full screen this, but yeah. Now, from our problem, from our EDA, we understood that clearly this is a classification problem. Plus, this is a multi-class classification problem, and this type of approach would, help us solve this. Now, let's hunt for the best model which we can use to make predictions. Any suggestions, guys, in the chat? We have really less time. Maybe in another 15-20 minutes. Let's wrap this up. So, any suggestions on the models we can use to uh, put to use and get some really good predictions? Anything in the chat? I'm a big TensorFlow enthusiast, so let me just tell TFDF. TFDF is basically TensorFlow decision forests. So you guys can go on and uh, put your own thoughts on which model would be the best to use for this kind of problem. Shafi says XGBoost. Okay, let me pin the suggestions that I'm coming. So I've pinned TFDF. I'm also pinning XGBoost. Anyone else who feels like there is something else which can be used? Anyone in the chat? You can drop in. You guys can chat GPT also. It's absolutely what do we say? There is no restriction on that. It's absolutely usable for the competition as well. But ChatGPT alone won't be able to make you on the top of the podium. So you need to put your brain to use as well. All right, let me not waste time, and I'll show you a really nice analysis of all the different models out there which would be considered ideal for this kind of problem statement. But it's totally up to you which one you want to use. You can put any, what do we say, bigger and better model to use as well. So here's a simple analysis for you guys. You can take a screenshot if you want. So there is something called as gradient boosting, which is really good for complex data sets, but ours is a very simple one. So I personally have preferred TensorFlow decision forest, TFDF, and which basically comes under random forest model. So you can use a lot of neural networks based models as well. Like Shafi is also saying that BERT, and somebody from the chat, Zeba, is saying that Cat Boost and Random Forest as well. So yeah, you can use any model which performs really good, just gets the work done. And if you have to use a really simple model, keep it really straightforward. You can use simple logistic regression as well. That's absolutely fine. But it all depends on your approach and how do you want to make it work. End of the day, it's about getting a really good evaluation, really good score, so that you can make it on the top of the competitors list. So I personally, today in this tutorial, I'm going to show it using random forest, which really performs decent with very less, number of, what do we call, epochs. Basically, we don't even need to use epochs over here. It generally does good with very little tuning, and it's really good. So I'll be using random forest, specifically TensorFlow decision forest, of course. I'm a TensorFlow advocate since a really long time. You guys know that. So we'll be using TensorFlow decision forest today. You guys can go ahead and use anything, literally anything. You can just ask ChatGPT to give you the best model, or simply ask Gemini to give you the best model, and use it off. So also, guys, if you want to make different submissions with different models, even that is possible. Do different notebooks, or maybe the same notebook but different submissions with the same model. You can go ahead and do that as well. And also promote this. uh, Try to, ask your friends to participate in this as well, so that you can compete with each other and see who has the best model. So yep, let's go ahead and uh, put some TFDF to use. Yep. So as you can see, we have pretty much done with the EDA. Now here we go. So here I'm making a very basic pipeline. Nothing much, nothing big, nothing fancy. A very simple pipeline where I'm using TF-IDF vectorizer, so that it vectorizes, and on that I'll be doing a simple classification with logistic regression. So, and I'm using max iterations of just 300, and I'm keeping the class weight balanced, so that all my weights and biases are properly balanced. So you can just have a look at this. I'll also try to share the link of the notebook. It's public, yeah, it's public. So there's a general sandbox submission that I made, which you guys can later on go and check. I've put it in the chat. You guys can go have a look. So basically, after pre-processing, we are uh, making a pretty simple ML pipeline with, what do we say, 1 2 grams of range. That's it, nothing else. No, nothing very, what do we call, complex or maybe over engineered. So let me also put some more suggestions in the chat as well of models that you can use, or maybe you guys itself can suggest which model would be more better than this one. Mm, yep. So yeah, let's go ahead. So this is a general, you know pipeline that I made. I'll try to discuss more about it, but let's go forward. Let's not waste time. I'll try to take all of this in the Q&A session, which we'll have at the end. So yep. Then I'm generally defining my X and Y labels, which I'll, put to train the model. So I've taken the column clean text for X and category for Y, just like you guys told in the beginning. And basically what this um, vectorizer does is it converts everything into numerical vectors. What are vectors, and what will you do with those vectors? Is generally we put it in our logistic regression, and it does a very good job classifying the categories. Why? Because they are vectors, they are not general, what do we say, text or something. So vectorization helps you a lot in this. That is why I'm putting it in this way. But you can take any approach. You can go and follow any approach that is, what do we say, fit for this thing. And also, you guys might be thinking this guy told about TFDF and is talking about logistic regression, but I'm just trying to keep it minimal for the beginners. So um I'm just trying to keep it as low ball as possible, so that uh, other people can go ahead, at least make their first submission, and then try to do some research and maybe make it better over time. So yeah. Then, after defining my X train and Y train, I simply do one simple thing. I clean my both the columns, so that I don't have any unnecessary stuff. And then as you can see over here, there are no blank categories, because let's say in the white train, if there are any blank categories, there will be a huge, issue, because generally that also will be considered as a category, and everything that is blank will also become a prediction. So your model will basically go crazy and be like, okay, blank is also a category. So simply I'm cleaning the data again, just to check, recheck, and basically re-ensure if nothing, unusual stays back. Then the general one hot encoding which we do, but I'm not using one hot encoding, I'm using something called as label encoder. You might ask why. Simple. Your category is a text, and for your, algorithm, your model to understand that text, it takes much, what do we say, more iterations, or it takes much more complexity to, break down this text. Instead, simply if you call this as a category or a class, and you simply encode that class with a simple integer, it'll be able to train much better, far better actually. So this is the generic, what do we say, best practices approach that a lot of people follow. Simply, if you're having multiple classes, encode them with a simple string, and then later you can convert them back after making your predictions. So that is what I'm doing here. And then here I calculated the f1 macro score, but I'm not going to show it right now because this turned out really bad in the first time. Then after multiple iterations, it turned out really good. I was able to make it somehow to 1.0. So after, encoding it, what I'll do is I just simply was checking the test df over here. It's totally fine. You guys can check or not check or whatever, you can follow any approach writing your code. So now what I'll do is, pipeline is the model which I created. If you want to go have a look again, I've already shared the notebook, you can go take a look. And here I'm basically training. I'm just putting X train and Y train encoded, which is my, uh, label encoded, or one hot encoded. You can use anything. Labels. Somebody is asking IR and vector is necessary, right? We'll take all the questions at the last. At the last, we'll have a really nice discussion while others can leave, and anyone who has questions can stay back, and then we can have a nice, talk. So I'll take questions at the last. But now let's talk about training the model. Here I'm training it basically. I'm just doing a general pipeline.fit, and it has given me a pipeline where, as you can see, our vectorizer works and our logistic regression works. It's a pretty balanced model, and it has stopped after total number of iteration has reached their limit. Now we can tune this as, as much as we can, however we like, but it is all in your mind to follow on an optimal approach and do whatever you can with this. So the model is totally up to you. Like I've told it multiple times, because I don't want you to stick to what I'm showing right now. It's just, for generic, you know uh, discussion purpose. Then once we've trained it, let's go ahead, make some predictions. Before that, let's jump back to the presentation and see a few things. So by here, let's make a checklist. Till here we've trained our model. This is our basic checklist before making our submissions. First is train a model, predict on test CSV, calculate accuracy, check data types of predictions, match column names as per the requirement, like how it's given in the rules and all. Then save the CSV, save your output, upload it to Kaggle, and check your score. So this is our general checklist. Till now, we have, let me close this one. This is not needed. Yep. Till now, we have trained our model, which was one. And number two, we'll make predictions. So simply what I've done here is, I've made a simple encoded prediction, because we already encoded in the bit earlier. And pipeline.predict, I just gave the text to it. So test df of text is our general, what do we say, input that we have to give. And I used inverse transform to simply convert the encoded, what do we say, predictions to the general, what do we say, categories. So it gave me something like this on the test data sets. And it gave me back my, what do we say, sample predictions in the way I wanted it. So, and if there is any blank, or there is some nan or something unusual, I wrote a simple function to drop it down. And as you can see, it gave me, these are the unique predictions and there are no blank predictions. So I'm just doing it to ensure nothing, unusual stays in the submission data set. So by here we are, oops, yeah, by here we are done with the training model, and then predicting on test csv. Here you can calculate your f1 score as well. And guys, make sure you use the right metric. You use something called as f1 beta. I'll just google it for you, f1 beta micro. This is the metric that we are using. So as you can see here, you got a nice summary of this. uh, where is it? I think there should be scikit-learn documentation somewhere here, f beta score. So as there's some documentation about it, I'll just put it in the chat. You guys can go ahead and read if you want. So make sure you use this one. So once you've done with your predictions and all, definitely calculate the score and then submit it. I'm not doing it right now because this was already done later. I've commented that code, but make sure you do it. You'll get the score before submitting itself. And then let's go ahead and make a submission, and I'll tell you how exactly should the submission format be. This is a very very important thing, because wrong submission formats can lead to your submission getting failed, because till here you've did a lot of job, a lot of work to get your model up and running, making it work, but at last if you're not able to make the submission, it'll be hell for you. You'll be frustrated, I know that. So let me tell you the right way to submit and make your submission count in Kaggle. So of course I told f1 beta micro etc. Let me jump all of this stuff because we are running out of time. So yep, so till here, uh I'm storing all of my predictions in something called as valpred, and I'm simply printing them. And I'll use the same thing to put in a data frame. I'll simply call a variable submission and I'll make a new data frame, and I'll put ID from test data frame. That was the general ID. And simply I'll put another column called as category, and make sure the case also is right, ID and category, just like it's given in the competition. If you can go and see the overview here, you'll have something called as a sample. Yeah, you have a sample submission. The evaluation standards say that your submission should contain only ID and category. Category will be your prediction, that's it, nothing else. Make sure you have a sample submission csv containing two columns. I just named it sample submission.csv. You can name it anything. You can name it output file.csv. You can name it anything as per your this thing. And the output can be a prediction for test CSV and must have the same number of rows as test CSV. This is a very important thing. Simply, if you don't want to, gather data from outside, scrape data in test CSV, there are 1500 rows. So if you don't want to scrape 1500 conversations, simply you can use test CSV itself to make the submission, because it is all about learning. It's not about, uh, getting real world data. It's not more on the scraping and what do we say, gathering data side. It's more on the learning side. Why we are doing this competition is so you can simply use the test csv itself. It's totally fine. And make your submissions. I've did the same. I've simply got all the IDs from test csv, which is my test df, and simply added a column called as category, just like given in the rules. Now if I can see the first few rows, this is my submission. But we forgot one thing, that these are still in encoded format. We simply need to change it back to the, what do we say, unencoded format. So let me show you one submission that I did pinned. Yeah, this one. Whoops. edit. Okay, let me show it from here itself. Yep, so as you can see here, I did not add the encoded versions in my final submission. I simply added, what do we say, I simply used valpred, because those itself are, what do we say, are final, what do you call, predicted values. And here comes the main part, the important part, that is, you need to make a data frame. Simply, I'm storing it in a variable, and that data frame should be submitted something like this: submission dot to csv, and this kaggle slash working slash cleaned output file, or anything, this can be anything basically. This would be your place to submit. How can you get that? I'll tell you. So okay, let me go back again to this. Here you have your folder called as output, kaggle slash working. Simply open this up, or here you should be seeing your output file after you run that cell. And how to get that path? Simply copy this from here. You can refresh it and simply copy this directory path and put it over here while you're submitting it. Submission.tocsv is there, right? Yahan pe simply you have to put that appended by the file name that you want to save. I'm repeating this again. Simply you open this up in output, you copy this path and simply append the name of the file you want to save it with. Meanwhile, I'll run all of this so that you'll be able to see everything up and running. So this is what generally will your submission be like. It will be your final submission CSV file, which will be counted as a submission on Kaggle. Here again, I'm checking how it is looking like, and then here I'm doing some EDA on top of that. So that's, what do we say, that's totally up to you what you want to do after that. So fitting itself takes a lot of time, so let's just wait for a minute over here until it gets fit, and then I'll show you how to make a submission. So again, let's go back to the PPT until it runs. So for till now, we have trained the model, predicted on test CSV, calculated the accuracy score, checked the data types of predictions, and made sure that no unnecessary stuff is there in our predictions. It's properly clean. If you clean your data set very well, this step is not at all needed. It will give you definitely the right prediction itself. It's not at all needed. Then I match the column names as per the requirement, which is our ID and category one. ID may ID rahega, category will have category. So then save it as a CSV. We are behind with just two more things to do, that is upload to Kaggle submissions and check our private score. So yep, my pipeline is ready. Also the predictions are here. Yeah, as you can see, uh now they are not encoded, they are simply in, what do we say, text. uh and here I simply encoded them. So wait a minute, my output file CSV is now something looking like this here. And if you open this up here, your file will be there. You can just refresh this. Yeah, this will be your submission file. It will definitely be there once you run this successfully. So what I'll do is, here I'll make a small tweak to it. I don't want my encoded labels to go as my submission. I want my general text labels to go as submission. So what I'll do is, here just a simple variable change. अरे कहाँ चला गया, यहाँ पे है. So I'll just do this from valpred encoder to valpred. Why? Here already we are doing inverse transform and saving all our encoded these things into valpred. So values, predicted values basically. So now I'll run this. Yeah, instead of the encoded in integer values, we got normal, what do we say, text values, and I'll just change the file name. I'll just name it as output file csv. Here also I'll name it as output file csv, and I'll simply run this. It's already done. Nice. Refresh. Yeah, as you can see, earlier we submitted this one, now we submitted this one, we got both. We have the chance to submit both as well. You can submit anything, both as well, in the sense you have to choose one, but still you can have multiple output files as well. In each submission you can select anything, but there is just one output file per submission, because yeah, that is what makes sense. And you can choose to submit different output files as well on across different submissions. So yep, this is how our this thing looks like. And here I simply randomly did a white space cleanup and all, but there's not required. I just named it as critical step, but it's not required until and unless you properly clean your data initially. So even this, I think, is not required. Simply over here what I'll do is, um where is it? Yep, here is our submission file. I'll just do submission dot head and see how it looks like. The 30 ले लेते हैं. This is how it looks like, exactly as per how the competition told us. And don't worry about this first column, Kaggle generally gives that. So only the named columns will be taken into consideration. So if we go into the rules, evaluation rules, and see, this is how Kaggle expected it to be, and this is how we are giving it. So now once we are done with the notebook and all, I did preview 100 times, so you can go ahead, ignore all of it. So once we are done with our output file, this is our main thing that counts as a submission. So but here the story is not done yet. The story is not done yet. What we have to do is go back to the competition, go to code, or maybe just simply click this submit prediction notebook, and whatever notebook you what do we say created automatically gets reflected over here. I've created only one notebook from this competition, so I just have this. And it will also ask for a output file which automatically will get reflected. But the critical step to do here is click on this button called as save version. This is the critical step. Only then these things over here will get automatically reflected. So as you can see over here, from my earlier versions, this was my latest version, the output file, the another second file which I created, did not reflect. So what I have to do, I have to simply click on save version. I'll just name this version something. I'll just call it YouTube live, YouTube underscore live, and I'll save it. So as you can see, this is running, and as soon as it is successful, I'll be able to see those things over here. And yeah, that's how you'll go ahead, make a model, create a submission. But this thing's not submitted yet. Let's go ahead and submit, then we'll call it a day. Also guys, meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can drop those in the chat, and do share this across, do share the competition across. I'm looking for at least 20 people who can make submissions, so that we'll have a decent top 3 or top 5 winners. And of course we have swags for winners. That is not a secret yet. I've already told it 3 times that it's a secret. I definitely will get swags for winners. Last time we didn't have anything, we just gave a kudos. uh, Next time, if you guys support more, if I see a lot of people watching the live, and if we have a lot of submissions coming up on Kaggle, maybe I can look forward to get a monetary prize as well. So not promising anything yet, depends on uh how's the support from your side. So Yeah, it's still running. And also, as you can see, I've made something around 24 submissions, more than 24 submissions to reach the zenith of this. You can make anything. That's totally up to you guys. If you're fine with the score you got, even on the first time, absolutely fine. If so, you can make a number of submissions. Like I told, it's 20 per day. If you make 20 today, you can make 20 tomorrow also. So it's not a rule that you have to make these many. If you're it all depends on the score you get. It all depends on how your model performs. So that is how it is. So yep, come on. It's not even consuming enough CPU, so I think this does not, saving does not. Perfect. Ah, failed. Why did it fail? I think there are some errors. Whoops, whoops, whoops. View active events. Failed. Let me just check why it failed. Hmm. Maybe something that I might have left in between just didn't trigger properly. Maybe. Yeah, that's the issue. So I had a random cell that just came up, so I have to simply delete that. So there's one good thing about Kaggle that if something fails, it clearly warns you and tells that yeah, this thing failed karke. So I'll just remove unnecessary code. I'll just delete unnecessary stuff. There is something called as uh, I'll remove this one because I think I already made a submission earlier over here. Yes. So I'll simply delete the unnecessary cells. I tried to see the preview or 10 at least 10 times before submitting it so that I'll be ready for the YouTube live. Perfect. Now I'll try to save it. I'll just name it YouTube live 2. Second attempt. Hope this runs. Of course it will. Running. Yep. All right, questions. How can we connect if we have any questions? I'll try to make a WhatsApp group. I'll try to shoot the link below in the description and in the comments. I was waiting uh, to see how many people stay to the last so that I'll share the link over there. We already have last year's Kaggle community group. Sorry, it was ML Olympiad back then. So we still have that group. So there are a lot of folks over there and a lot of ML experts as well. You can connect over there. And if you have want to, speak directly to me, I'll share QR at the end where you can personally connect with me as well. And another question somebody asked, Zeba asked, IR and vector is necessary, right? Yes, considering best practices, it is necessary. But if somebody does not know about it at all, they can go for any base approach, any baseline, any simple, straightforward approach, um, which suits or just does the work. So uh, I would say, yeah, it does a pretty good job. And well, I'm finding ways to say it's not compulsory in indirect way, but just go ahead and do. It gives you a better score. But if you're not at all good with it, if you're just a beginner, then you can avoid using all of that stuff. Hope that answers. And any other questions? Can you step by step like cleaning data, then processing EDA and I didn't get it. Can you step by step like data cleaning? Okay, maybe not grammatically put right. If you can please ask that question again. If you want a step by step tutorial, then of course I've given the notebook as well. I'll share the link in the chat. So I think I did already. I shared the notebook link. You can directly see and folk or maybe copy the notebook. Can you say the step by step process? Yeah, you can copy the notebook, you can use it, or you can, this YouTube video will stay live as long as YouTube is there, as long as YouTube servers work. This will be there on my channel. You can go ahead and watch this again for the whole tutorial. Oh, meanwhile, our submission is, sorry, our saving is successful, and there's version number 25 or something. So let's go back. I'll simply reload it, and then I'll click on submit prediction notebook. Here you go. Our output files.csv is reflecting over here. Perfect, super perfect. This is what we wanted. So it automatically has selected my notebook. It automatically has selected the latest submission, sorry, the latest version that we saved. We can select any other version as well, any other version. I tried different stuff. I tried, encoding integers, then encoding strings and mapping IDs. I used F1 macro as well. I used varying outputs. I did a lot of stuff. So it's totally up to you what you want to use, and simply select your output file. Description is totally up to you. It's optional. And then once you click on submit, successfully it says that yes, you've made a submission. So, and you can check your private and public score both as well. Ta-da, I've got a whole one which counts as 100%. So using a general basic regression, I was able to get this. So of course, can we keep on GitHub this one? Kaggle is better than GitHub in terms of machine learning, I say, because you can store it. All of your notebooks, all of your data gets stored in your profile. You can go here, your work. Here you can go to code. All of the notebooks that you make gets stored over here. And of course, guys, you can go ahead, check my notebooks as well. I've made a lot of demos. There is a time series demo. There is a very small model called as my chota sa model. You can give an upvote. This is called as an upvote. It's basically a like in Kaggle. So you can go ahead and check that. And still, if you want to put it on GitHub, that's totally up to you. It's your notebook. You can choose to do anything with it, but the submission will go only on Kaggle. So again, let me simply sum up what we did. We just, what do we say, made a notebook, clicked on submit prediction, selected our notebook and the file from here, and clicked on submit, and we got our score. So this is how you submit it. And I think now we are pretty much done. Let's check our checklist so we can tick these last two things as well. So far we've done what's required, and this is what it is. We've trained our model, summing it up. We've predicted on test CSV, our test dataset. We checked our accuracy score. We checked if something is wrong in our what do we say, predictions, something unusual or not, and we fixed it. It's not required if you clean your data well. I did it intentionally so that first timers or beginners can easily understand. Then, as per the competition requirements, we matched the columns, and we simply put one single row of, one single column of ID and one single column of our predictions, named ID and category. Saved the CSV, uploaded it to Kaggle submissions, and then we got a score. So this can be done tens of times. This whole thing can be repeated multiple times until you are satisfied with your score, and you see yourself on the leaderboard. So that's pretty much about it, and I think we can call it a day over here. So guys, go on, make your model, score better, and make it on the top of the podium. Let's see who wins this year's Kaggle Community Olympiad. And there are some pro tips that I would like to give to win. First would be neat code. Uh, Neat code is where I fall for people. Neat code, well organized code is where I really like people. So even if there are, let's say, a lot of people on the leaderboard, I can filter out people from them and give out a better leaderboard based on these things. So first one would be neat code. Second would be a nice EDA. If you guys have done a good EDA, it would tell you a better things. Good model. Good model is directly proportional to a good score. So good model and better score falls hand in hand. If you use a poor model, it doesn't work well. Then explanatory comments, you can simply write one liner comments as well, or if you want to write down a whole markdown file, you can do that as well. And also, other people will also be able to see your notebook if it is public. So you can go ahead, choose uh, what do we say, your notebook to be public. It's totally up to your choice. And um, if you want to become famous, then do it very very well. Write some really nice comments so that other people can watch and maybe use your notebook as well. So that would definitely do. And try different approaches, don't just stick to one approach. Don't just stick to regression and vectorization because just because I said. Try your own approach, go ahead and give it a shot. You can improvise a lot of times, there is a lot of scope, and the competition is running for a whole month for a simple machine learning problem. So it's totally a really really good time to do. Then feel free, Gemini, ChatGPT, there are no restrictions. You can go ahead, ask Gemini or ChatGPT for better results, and good code. So I think that's it, guys. Any more questions? We are already 10 minutes past what we decided. We thought to close it by 10:30, but yeah, people who have questions can stay back, others can leave. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Thank you so much for spending the night of a weekend over learning Kaggle and making it productive. You've been a great audience. Of course, I understand that this time I had a very less audience count, but of course, let's look on the better side of things. Let's hope that Kaggle Community Olympiad this year reaches heights. A lot of people participate in it, and a lot of people get to learn. And I hope you guys get to learn a lot. I still remember ages ago when I made my first Kaggle competition submission, and there is something called as Titanic prediction. It is a evergreen, ever running competition. So that is where I dipped my toes into ML, and here I am now organizing a Kaggle competition. So, yep, the journey matters a lot, learning matters a lot. I hope you guys learn and grow a lot. Thank you so much for being a patient audience. And you can scan this QR to connect with me. And in the chat, I'll try to put a link. Let me do it right away from my phone. We do have a WhatsApp channel where you can connect, and I just will be available over there if you want to have any questions or uh, ask something. Any more questions, guys? I'm waiting for questions. Meanwhile, how about we put some music? Maybe we can. Here we go. I'll be waiting for another hard 5 minutes of questions. Call it a day, and then sharing all the links once. Just a minute. The link in the chat. I'll also try to put all the links together in the description as well. So this is where you can join the chat and feel free to start a conversation around. So yeah, let's call it a day. Thank you so much, guys, for patiently listening. A very happy weekend to all of you, and keep learning, keep growing. Thank you so much. Bye bye.